The Salt Creek Patchmakers Quilt Guild is having a quilt show. Here today to tell us more are Christine and Alina. Welcome to ciLiving.
Thanks for having us.
So can you tell me a little bit about the Quilt Guild?
Absolutely. So the Salt Creek Patchmakers Quilt Guild was created in 1993, and we are just a good, close-knit bunch of women who enjoy learning from one another the craft of quilting, and part of our mission is to teach quilting to the surrounding community and to help further that craft.
All right, so speaking of teaching, I see that you have brought a beautiful quilt square here to show us, but then you've also brought a quilt project in pieces. So I would like to know, what is this quilt project and how do we make it?
Well, the project is actually our Quilt Guild's logo, and this is a finished, it's just a block, it hasn't been put into a project yet, but it is a rail fence 9-patch.
Okay.
And
am I holding it the correct way, or?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
You could really put it in any way that you want. I just created this to demonstrate our logo.
Okay.
Every piece of fabric represents something to our guild.
Oh, tell me about that.
Sure. At its foundation, there was a contest. I don't know, I wasn't there. I was still in high school.
Okay. Before your time.
Right. And so each color swatch or strip that's in the block represented, and help me out if I get it incorrect, the navy blue represents the night sky.
Okay.
The lighter blue represents
The Salt Creek.
the Salt Creek, thank you. And the green representing the grass alongside the creek. And I'm sure I'm missing some details. And this yellow is representative, for me, just wildflowers, but other logos have a floral print. And then to represent the wildflowers growing creekside.
Perfect. So each one has significance. So to make the quilt square, you would cut it into strips.
Right. So I started with 1-inch strips here, and you can go as long as you need. You'll actually need a couple of these sets to create this final block, but I just brought one strip set here. So you have 4 strip sets, and then you're going to sew each together just in and we call this a strip set, where we're going to chop this up into blocks, but
okay, so first you make it a long strip and then you're going to cut it to get this.
Right.
Okay, perfect.
Right. So we'll take this long strip and cut it into 2.5-inch squares, because that is the width of this unfinished strip set.
Okay.
And so these are just 2.5-inch squares, and you can rotate them and create any really design that you wanted to.
And what is this piece called right here that you have it on? Because this looks like a very important tool in quilting.
Well, it's lots of people call it different things. I call it a demo board, because you can, it's just leftover batting or felt. On the other side is just flannel, and thread stick, fabric sticks, and so you don't have to pin a lot of things.
Nice.
Pin these just because they were longer. Yeah, and so a design board is also what it's called, mat board, lots of different things.
Okay.
And we tend just to make them so that it looks a little primitive or hobbyish, but that's all right. So once you stitch these rows together and they just all come together, then you'll place strips to the top and bottom.
Okay.
And then larger strips. So these would measure, my block comes out to be 6.5-inch strips here. Okay. And so that's, once all that's put together, you'll have another rectangle, and you'll finish out with 8.5-inch strips. And that creates a nice square.
The finished square. That is wonderful. And I know you teach how to make quilts, right?
Right. I personally teach classes. At our Quilt Guild, we have sew days, and usually at a sew day, there is someone from our guild, or we've invited in a guest to teach various techniques. Last month was English paper piecing. Okay. And I've taught using a curved ruler to create quick curves that are not so tedious.
Right.
That's an intimidating thing, and really it's not as difficult as it has to seem.
And they sell kits, right? Where you can buy a kit that some of the pieces are already cut out for you. And
especially for newer quilters, you don't have to have the everything and a whole room filled with fabric. You can just get a small kit. Actually, at our quilt show, you'll be able to
We have our
Purchased from
Quilters
several
Garage
vendors.
sale.
Okay, so tell me about this quilt show before we wrap up.
Yeah.
So the quilt show, we have several fan favorites. So one of the fan favorites is going to be our Quilters Garage sale. So anyone who sews or crafts know that there are two separate hobbies. There is your actual hobby of sewing and quilting, and then there's the hobby of collecting. So our quilters have gone through and purged their stashes and have them available for sale. We also will have several vendors set up where you can do anything sewing related, but we also have vendors that are there for crochet. We'll have a vendor that has soy wax melts and candles, and then we have fan favorite Quilt Show Cafe, and soups are back this year. That was a huge hit. And then we also have what is called a bed turning. That's not typical at most quilt shows, but a bed turning, we just will go through and we're going to show, this is our Back to Basics quilt show. So we're going to show quilts that either have taught us a lesson or show some basic techniques. And so we'll have 18 quilts from our members that will be shown 3 times throughout the day.
All right, one more question before we wrap up. If I want to come to the quilt show, how do I do that?
Absolutely. You can just come to Little Galilee Christian Campground on March 21st and 22nd. We're open from 9 to 4. No tickets in advance are needed. It's $8 at the door. Children up to age 12 are free.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being here, for showing us this craft. And if you would like to attend the quilt show, you can visit us on the web at ciLiving.tv for more information after the show.